My name is Myles Harris, and I led a project that simulated a space mission in May 2022. So this was a type of analog mission. There are different types of analogues that simulate a specific aspect of space. And what we simulated was the human exploration of another planet. We did that by going to a remote and uninhabited island on the west coast of Scotland. And we took a group of what we call analogue astronauts to this island to conduct a variety of different types of research.
And I'm Dr. Sarah Fortais. I'm the first artist in residence for the Center for Outer Space Studies at UCL, and part of that residency involved going on the Analogue Space Research Mission. And my job as artist in residence covered a wide range of things from mission branding and patch making to documentation, collaboration with the analog astronauts and crew members, and also creating my own body of artwork to communicate the mission using found materials from the site. So during the Explore Festival, there's a number of installations and artworks that I've brought in onto site, and they're all based around the mission that we completed. So some of the artworks that were created were thought up beforehand and sort of finalized while the mission was taking place. So the remote care cases are old first aid kits repurposed into individual dioramas that communicate individual patient care as part of the simulation on mission. And they range from a variety of like a fractured hip to emotional distress and homesickness. And they were life casts taken of patients and analog astronauts administering remote care on site using soil that I excavated from the island. There's other works, including animals in spacesuits, which were created after I came back, but using skeletons that I was able to dig up while the mission was taking place. There's also a range of satellite lunga balls, which again were created from scouring flotsam and jetsam from the islands and then churning those into pseudo-space objects. And I guess there's also a range of patches and training documentation. And finally, there's a tableau of two astronauts in A5L Apollo replica pressure suits that I made, administering remote field care in the reception of the building.
So an analog mission simulates aspects of space, and what we were committed to as a research group and what we're continuing to doing in the organisation that I founded called Space Health Research is to use analog missions as a way to investigate different products or services that relate to health in a space environment that have some sort of tangible benefit for life back on Earth. So space is a brilliant example of a remote, if not the remotest environment, and a lot of the challenges that we can experience when exploring space have or correlate with the challenges that we have back on Earth. So namely, we have very limited resources, it's unreliable communication, and there's a delayed evacuation, so it takes a long time for people to get back. So by investigating and coming up with solutions to these challenges in space, we can have a direct beneficial impact for life on Earth. So this analog mission was a pilot. As I said, we simulated the human exploration of another planet, and there's never been an analog like that before in the UK. So when we were designing the project, we didn't know whether it could work, whether we could simulate space in the UK. So we piloted it, depending what team people were in. They were in space on this island for 4 or 5 days. But the analog mission that we're doing in 2023 will be much longer. It will be for 2 weeks, and that will allow us to do much more research and involve a much larger group of people.
It was really useful to collaborate with the analog astronauts and crew on a number of artworks because it allowed kind of the output to expand wider than what I had anticipated. But at the same time, as a performance artist, I would continually go on my own pseudo space missions in London and cities, completing simple tasks. But going on the Analogue mission with this crew for medical research purposes really showed me that the idea of an analog in simulation could be transposed anywhere. And I think it was especially useful that it was still within the UK, but creating space anywhere is like such a valuable, I think, tool for our science.
Many people in the UK aren't aware of Analogue missions and the potential benefit for their work and their connection with people's work. So the first thing I would say is to contact us at spacehealthresearch.com, join our membership, which is completely free, and you're joining a network of people that are in a similar position, having similar thoughts about the potential for space and what that means for them and their work that they're doing. And it's a network then that people can collaborate and share ideas. And if people are really interested, then they can get involved in coming on an Analogue mission. So it's a case of join the conversation and meet like-minded people.
It was really interesting for me to meet a group of people who have gone to far-off places to experience something new, and I guess as well to feel that element of discovery. Because I think for me, with my practice, I'm often reconsidering very small things right in front of me, looking for something new within that and feeling that similar excitement. So I think it was strange to find the familiar feelings and sentiments in a completely different group of presenters and audience, that I go about it in a different way. And so I think kind of sharing stories that way was surprisingly useful.
I first came to explore in 2019, and every time I come to explore, whether it's been online or in person, it's the huge amounts of enthusiasm of others and inspiration that I sort of come away with. And it's that thirst for pushing the frontier and doing more exploration in whatever context that's been really, really valuable. So you know, that's kind of inspired me to go on and do new things that I never thought I would do before. And a large amount of that has come from Explore and meeting you know, really inspirational speakers and other people that have come to the conference. So you know, I highly recommend people to come to Explore.
If I was going on a mission, I would definitely bring my telescopic spoon, because it's like a regular spoon, but you can spoon things that are farther away than normal. Well, if you got those space food bags, you don't have to get your hand in the bag, and you can take other people's bags. The possibilities are endless, or at least greater than 2.
For me, you know, being on an expedition, whether it's in a really cold, really remote environment, as long as I can have a decent cup of coffee, then everything else is absolutely fine. That would be the one. It's the first thing I pack every expedition that I go on. Is some sort of decent coffee-making device.
I guess just a big thank you to the RGS for taking a chance with my artwork experiments and allowing me to see it work in a really interesting conversation with the legacy of this building. It's been, and society. It's been, yeah, really fun to get to do that.
And similarly for me, thank you to the RGS for doing something really different and involving space exploration. It's been a real privilege to present this year, so a massive thank you to the RGS, particularly Shane Windsor.
Thanks, Shane.